Vargas, Venezuela is located on the northern coastal region in Venezuela, and this is where the 1999 flooding and debris flow happened. This feature was not seasonal. The cause of this flooding and debris flow was from a torrential rain that lasted for 3 days in a row during the dry season in Venezuela. It rained a total of 35.9 inches during the course of those 3 days, which is an anomaly and amounts to more than 2 years of rainfall that Venezuela receives on average. The normal time frame for the dry season in Venezuela is from November to April, and the rainy season is normally from May to October. So this happened during what is normally the dry season in Venezuela. The frequency of flooding in the coastal area of Vargas has been subject to more minor occurrences of mudslides and flooding, but the last major flood happened in 1951. However, the flood that occurred in 1951 did not cause much damage to the state, especially when compared to the flood of 1999. On average, since the 17th century, one major debris flow, landslide, or flood have happened each century within the borders of the state of Vargas. The Vargas state was the only place affected by the 1999 flood, and geographically, the state is relatively small at 578 square miles in area. This area is also known for for its coast and its beaches located on the northern, again, coast of Venezuela. The societal and economic impacts were substantial. This event was disastrous for Venezuela and resulted in the death of an estimated 19,000 people. And Venezuela is unsure of the exact number because the census data in this area was inaccurate at the time. Only 1,000 bodies were recovered during the aftermath. More than 8,000 homes, 700 apartment buildings, and many small communities were completely destroyed. This event also displaced 75,000 people. 70% of the population was affected, and it transformed more than 37 miles of the coastline. Basic public services were no longer operational, such as water, electricity, phones, transportation. And since transportation was cut off, this led to no food or water supplies for months and forced the majority of the population to evacuate the area. The flooding directly affected the characteristics of the society because almost the entire population had to be evacuated, and the government was unable to offer the aid that they should have because of political conflict issues at the time. Flooding in Vargas does not regularly destroy infrastructure crops, and like I mentioned before, only happens around once every century. But the estimated total economic cost of this disastrous flood is estimated to be around 1.79 to 3.5 billion dollars. There have been a couple mitigation strategies to protect the property and state of Vargas from disasters like this from happening again, such as building large structural flood control measures, such as check dams, and simply avoiding the affected areas and preventing anyone from building any structures in that danger zone. However, no check dam has been constructed yet because of the poor financial state of Venezuela, and the only measure that has been implemented is land use regulations, and these land use regulations limit the type or amount of development in high-risk areas, and these high-risk areas are limited to only building public parks and grazing areas for animals. And although the state of Vargas was devastated, the people regrouped and began to rebuild on their own because the government was unable to supply aid. And independently, as of 2006, the state of Vargas reached the same population levels as they were before the disaster.